Tracy Spiaggia, Slingshot Health Coaching. I am a functional nutrition and lifestyle counselor, board certified health and wellness coach, and a brain health specialist. I work predominantly with individuals, adolescents, teens, and families. And I will briefly explain functional health coach versus a traditional health coach. Functional refers to the methodology that includes the examination and consideration of the entire person and not just the isolated symptom that brought them to you. The Institute for Functional Medicine's definition is a systems biology-based approach that focuses on identifying and addressing the root cause of disease. Functional health coaching, I'm going to minimize and hope that this works. Functional health coaching is an experience in which physical symptoms are alleviated by root cause resolution, and it's comprised of a thorough exploration all of these lifestyle areas that the vast majority of them are overlooked, and really just we kind of take them for granted. So it's a very interesting journey when we take a look at all of those. I see health as a family affair. This is my beautiful family in the upper corner here. So the impetus of all the work I do is my passion for the well-being and vibrancy of the family unit. A family is only as happy and functional as its least healthy member. And personal experience has really brought me to embrace that truth and kind of craft my coaching around that truth. Like I said, ideally, I work with the entire family. And this is most especially true when I'm working with the population of people that really have my heart, and that's people suffering with any type of mental health challenge. And I love most especially coming alongside and empowering mothers, because I do believe that mothers have a very unique and powerful role of influence in their homes. So how do we progress as clients and I work together? We start with a very in-depth exploration of the client's entire life story, going as far back as recollection will take them, even prior to their life, their conception, if they can reach back even further into some past generations, because there's usually some fantastic nuggets to be mined there. This process alone can take several sessions. It's really the single most important part of the work that I do, is to come to get to know each client on a very intimate level, because the answers to their challenges really lie within their story. Every client takes several assessments in order to better understand themselves and why they do what they do. Some clients do participate in vision board workshops that I hold periodically throughout the year. And the goal of these vision board workshops is really, it's not necessarily vision casting. It's really an opportunity to get into the creative part of the brain to try to explore what that person truly values. Because once we identify what we really value, we can kind of set that as the target for that we aim towards throughout the coaching experience and beyond. If we keep our values front and center in our lives and allow them to inform our choices day by day, we begin to build the legacy that we really do desire, instead of slowly drifting far from that. When I work specifically with adolescents and teens, the best outcomes are experienced when mom and dad are open to learning how to best relate to their struggling child and how to implement changes in the home that will significantly increase and expedite the holistic healing of their child and their family. We explore their child's assessments in an effort to help the parents come to know the nuances of their child better. And this is because when a child feels seen, safe, soothed, held, and understood, healing can happen. I encourage the parents also to take the same assessments so that all of the family members can begin to understand one another better, because when we understand each other better, we can be more compassionate towards one another, and love can thrive in an environment like that. So we spend time individually and collectively looking through the family's entire story, because the truth is mom, dad, siblings all can add their own unique insights into the family story that perhaps the one client may not have on their own. So it really just brings a fullness to the family story. And we always keep the principles of human attachment and safety at the forefront of the work that we do. Some of my clients do go on to have functional lab testing performed when we really do believe that there is a physiological driver behind either acute chronic illness or the mental health challenges that they struggle. Very often, these have their roots in physiological misalignments, just dysbiosis within the gut is a driver. So these are just some of the examples of some functional lab testing that we do that helps to inform how we progress through our care together. So based on the client's history, symptoms, test results, if applicable, we craft a personalized non-pharmaceutical regimen of elimination supports, high quality nutraceuticals and supplements, essential oils, and other healing modalities such as symptom targeted diet, sleep hygiene plans, food, mood, poop journals. Yes, you read that right. You heard that right. That's a super important tool in the work that I do. Castor oil packs, heart baths, space. These are all methodologies in which I've been trained to come alongside people struggling with anxiety and, just mental health struggles. These are the majority of the brands that I have aligned with and believe wholeheartedly in the robust quality and their efficacy. They're really fantastic, fantastic products. These are some of the services I additionally offer. We do grocery store tours and I educate people on what foods to buy and what foods not to buy and the reasons why, help them understand the nutrients that they provide and also the toxins that they may have in them and all of the impacts on their health. One of the favorite offerings I have is in-home cooking instruction, where I teach not just adults, but children as well, how to prepare gut and brain healthy foods. And we'll also sometimes consider doing pantry, refrigerator, freezer, toiletry, medicine cabinet purges to take out the toxic products that they have and replace them with light products that are actually supportive of their health. This is the front page of a downloadable that I created. It's a very powerful tool. It's a daily thought journal. So throughout the coaching experience, I place a very strong emphasis on the client's thought life. The body follows the mind. So even with the cleanest diet and strategized protocols, the chances of the body fully healing is significantly reduced if the client obsessively thinks about outcomes, anticipates failure, and experiences deep hopelessness. So this is where the spirituality, community, and familial support is so, so important. I have found time and time again that the most impactful aspect of coaching is creating a safe space for each person to share what is going on the inside. My ultimate goal is to help facilitate change in the way each client thinks, because our thoughts create our reality. This is an image that I created that I use with all of my clients. We take a look at what is the actual thought, and we'll actually write this out on the whiteboard, and we'll go through a pretty exhaustive exercise. So we take what I consider to be a toxic thought. If the client is agreeable, if this is what they choose, we work within the constructs of a Christian perspective. But if not, we just work from the perspective of love, which crosses all barriers, right? So we take the negative thought and we align it with what is actually loving and true. And then we begin to speak a better thought that is in alignment with what is loving and true. Whether or not we feel it, whether or not we're feeling it, that's almost irrelevant. We speak it and then we begin to live it. That's when we begin to experience it. And that's when we begin to see neuronal changes. That's when we begin to see our thought patterns shifting towards something more helpful and more healthful and more truthful. And, health can spring from there. And this is a flow chart that I created based on what I said earlier about values. So our values are at the very bottom of our life experience. And if we don't examine the values, we're working kind of superficially and not getting to root drivers. So if we examine what we value, where the stories came from, we then move up to, okay, those values inform our beliefs, and then the beliefs inform our choices, and our choices become our behaviors and patterns, which become our daily living, which becomes our reputation, which becomes our legacy. And it's really my passion to get more people interested in doing the really challenging work of self-confrontation for the sake of the legacy that you leave behind for the family that I know you hold so dear. So as I said earlier, my heart is for the strength of the family unit that comes by loving relationships, which are nurtured through good choices made by healthy minds and brains. The brain is the personality organ, so we've got to take really good care of it, because when we think better, we do better. When we do better, we are better. And that's it.
Excellent. Excellent. Any questions for Tracy?
So Tracy, it sounds like a really thought out process and it sounds really good. I'm just wondering, is any of that covered by insurance? Is it all out of network?
No, we are not in insurance. We're third tier coverage only as a national board certified health and wellness coach. We have third tier coverage, but we have an amazing team of experts who have been lobbying as long as I've been in the field, which is a decade, lobbying for tier 1 coverage. But I'll be totally honest with you. Once insurance and government kind of gets involved with the work that you do, it does change a lot. And what I try to do in the work that I do is get people out of the allopathic mindset of care, where it's a like kind exchange. I give you X amount of money, you give me a pill, I feel better, and off I go. This is very much a therapeutic relationship that is more of an investment than, hey, it's not a pill for an ill. So, I just, that's why in one of the aspects of my website is I work with highly motivated people who are ready to invest in themselves and in their lives and in their health and well-being, and don't necessarily see it the way like, oh, I just want to pay my copay and I just want to feel great. That's fine. It's like if you get a flat tire, you're going to bring it into the shop and fix just the tire. But if you want to really take good care of your car, you're going to be proactive and pay out of pocket for all of the things that keeps your car in really good running order, and not have the expectation that insurance would have covered those things. So I kind of like it in this space because it helps to feed the highly motivated individuals and families. So, but I do
one other question. I'm sorry. One other question. How many months do you typically work with a family, or range?
To be honest, I really prefer a minimum of a 6-month commitment, only because of the science that informs human change, human behavior change, brain structure change, neuronal change. It takes a minimum of 6 months of regular work to actually see structural changes in the brain. And if you were to actually be proactive and do imaging, you can see the structural change, which is so fascinating to me. But I certainly work with people session by session. But my hope is that we could enter into a fully committed season of care, so that not only do you leave having bought in for the entire journey of the 6 months or longer to change, versus if I do a one session at a time and you leave prematurely, you'll leave with this belief that health coaching or working with a functional practitioner doesn't work. Well, this is an experience that actually takes, again, it's getting out of that Western mindset, out of that allopathic mindset. It takes time. It took X number of years for you to live yourself into this health deteriorated state. It's going to also take time to live your way back out of that ill state. So 6 months is really, my heart is for the minimum, but I would never turn somebody away because they're not quite ready to commit to that kind of time frame.
We've reached the 9 o'clock hour, so anyone who wants to stay on, go ahead. But we've hit the 9 o'clock hour. Anyone who's got to jump, we like to keep everything calendar and schedule. So get ahead and jump. And anyone who wants to stay on. Any other questions? Ellen.
Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye now.
See you guys. Enjoy. Any other questions?
I've got a question. What's the best type of person to refer to you, Tracy, when you're looking, like, who do you really like to work with, and what's the best person?
I love that question, Paul. Like I said, I really am so passionate about supporting either single parents or a married couple whose child is struggling with mental health challenges. I certainly work with the child, but just as important, I really actually believe it's more important that I work with the parents and empower them to best understand lifestyle and nutritional impacts on the brain and our mental well-being. So I can certainly work 2 to 4 hours a month with a child client, which I do very often, but more important, I work with the parents to help them understand what they're eating, how you're relating to them, understanding things like attachment theory. SPACE is an acronym for a therapeutic model to help parents better understand how to really healthfully interact with the symptoms of anxiety, so you don't feed it, so you don't actually permit it or worsen it by constantly soothing and creating this little bubble, because the bubble will need to get tighter and tighter, actually making it harder for that child to launch into society with healthy life skills. Teaching them how to food shop, how to cook, how to minimize toxins, how to take functional lab testing and take a look at what are the physiological depletions that you can buoy through supplementation, diet, lifestyle. It's really empowering the parents to come around their child, bringing siblings along as well, because it's so important that the family unit do this together. But if I'm going to get my most ideal avatar, it's a family who is struggling with mental health challenges among one or more of their children, and supporting the family unit on how to combat that and how to heal the brain and heal relationships at the same time. But those are my perfect clients.
So I love how you're taking both the science of it all, along with the, for lack of a better term, and I don't think it, the woo-woo, right, with the vision boards and law of attraction and all of that, to really make the impact. Do you ever find that some of your clients go, oh, let's just kind of stick to the science, I don't believe all that airy-fairy stuff?
I have not yet, because when people find me, they're really hurting. And when you're in that kind of pain, you really are so broken that you have to concede this is bigger than you, and you're going to really need to call on powers beyond yourself. And when that happens, to me, that is the most beautiful transformation, is when people let go of the ego and say, okay, can we press into that maybe higher power, and can you help me love and heal my child? There's nothing more heartbreaking than a parent watching their child devolve and slip through their fingers and not have the skills set to help them. I've been there. I lived through it. So I know, I'm in it now. I know how that feels. It is the most isolating, terrifying, hopeless place to be. So it's my hope to come alongside those parents and breathe new life into them and inspire them that you have everything you need as this child's parent to be the CEO of their care. And we can look at their physiology, we can look at their spirituality, we can look at their relationships, we can look at the familial unit, we can look at traumas, we can look at past history, we can look at what are called adverse childhood experiences. We can look at head injury and trauma. We can look at viral infection. There's just so many things to look at. It's never like to categorize it like woo-woo is that it can't stay there, because the body is a material thing, and we must look at the material body no matter what symptoms are presenting themselves, because even if this is a relational wound, an emotional wound, there is a physiological ripple effect that happens inside the body that needs to be addressed in addition to that emotional wound. You cannot compartmentalize the two. So you can go to talk therapy all you want, but if you are eating a diet that is literally destroying your gut and brain, the talk therapy will never heal you out of that very ill place. So that's why I just don't see how we can have one without the other. For me to continue to grow my network and work with therapists and even like tutors and things like that, people who have their hands on children, that's the best network for me, because they can recognize, oh, this kid's struggling but have no toolbox. really to help them. And I just continue to expand the toolbox of mine that I then go and empower people through education. Hey, take a look at this therapy, take a look at this modality. These we can do together. These I'm going to need to outsource you to a colleague or, you know, a referral. But there is a holistic way to come around acute and chronic illness and mental illness and really win that war. There's no question about it because I've lived through it. I've lived through it. So